Welcome to the 12 Report with Blessings Musugu, and these are the headlines. Court to hear bail applications of Malami, 2 others over money laundering allegations. Police suspend tinted glass permit enforcement after court order. Also, rescue probe continue after deadly fire at Prance, Montana in the Swiss Alps. And as usual, we have our reporters stationed in different parts of the country and beyond. Aishat Saliu and Joshua Imarai are standing by in the Federal Capital Territory. Emmanuel Bagudu joins from Kaduna, while Bernard Akede is on standby here in Lagos. We've got the details in a moment. Now, we start off by letting you know that the Federal High Court in Abuja is expected to today hear arguments on the formal bail applications filed by former Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, and 2 other defendants. Now, Malami, who is standing trial alongside his son, Abubakar Abdulaziz Malami, and Asabe Bashir, has pleaded not guilty to a 16-count charge bordering on alleged money laundering filed by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC. The court had earlier ordered their remand after declining an oral bail application pending consideration of the formal request. We now cross live to our correspondent, Joshua Imarai, who is at the Federal High Court. Joshua, what is the latest from the court proceedings regarding Malami and his son, including the other person?
Well, good afternoon to you, Blessings. I am currently live at the Federal High Court in Abuja, where Justice Emeka Nwite has heard argument from the defendants, particularly the counsel representing Abubakar Malami. That's the person of Paul Daudu, the senior advocate of Nigeria, representing him. Earlier in court this morning, the EFCC lawyer told the court that the EFCC has filed a counter affidavit to the reply of the EFCC to the formal application for bail as filed by Malami's lawyer, and that they are yet to reply on further affidavit and pray the court to grant them more time. This was objected by Malami's lawyer, who told the court that this was just another tactic to delay the bail application hearing and possibly delay the trial. He, however, stood down his counter affidavit to allow the court to take the arguments improper. The court has taken arguments of the defendants, and these were some of the submissions and arguments that the lawyer representing Malami, that's the person of Paul Daudu, made in court. Paul Daudu said that the offenses that Malami is currently accused of are offenses that are not capital in nature, and he is entitled to bail. And secondly, he says that the defendant enjoyed the presumption of innocence until proven guilty by the court. And thirdly, he said the granting bail is at the discretion of the court, and it is only the court that can refuse or grant the defendant bail. And lastly, on the allegation raised by the EFCC that Malami was going to tamper with witnesses, stifle witnesses, and those who are billed to testify in the ongoing trial, the defense counsel, that is the person of Paul Daudu, the senior advocate of Nigeria, is saying that this is a blanket statement, that particulars were not embedded in form of affidavit evidence, pointing the court that this is a fact that Malami was going to tamper with evidences and oppress witnesses, and this should not be respected or held by the court. What is ongoing now is the submission of the prosecution. That is the lawyer representing the EFCC. That is the person of Ian Acho, the senior advocate of Nigeria, who is actually presenting this case before the court on why Malami should not be granted bail. Blessings.
All right, we also understand that there was a brief incident between the officers of the EFCC and the correctional services. What more do we know about that?
Well, as you can see behind me currently are some of the officers of the EFCC. They are currently holding forth and in charge of the security arrangements and protocol and who enters or goes outside the court. But what happened earlier, well, we saw a conflict, some sort of conflict between officers of the Nigerian Correctional Service and that of the EFCC. In some sort of struggle of who is going to take over the security of that place. That place is being manned by operatives of the EFCC. They dictate who goes in and who goes out of the court. But what happened this morning was that the correctional facility, the correctional services who are in custody of Malami now, based on the fact that Malami has taken his plea before the court and now is now in the custody of the Nigerian correctional facility, they are saying that the security arrangement is their business, and the EFCC is arguing otherwise, that the security arrangement and protocol in this case, as far as the case is concerned, is their business. So they had some sort of spectacle here earlier on, some sort of incident, but it has died down and normalcy has returned. Blessings.
All right, Joshua Marai there with the update on the money laundering allegations against Malami and two others. And of course, News Central will keep you updated as the procession or proceedings in the court goes on. Now, as work resumes after the public holiday, compliance at the Federal Secretariat appears slow, with many civil servants yet to return fully and small businesses reopening to minimal patronage. Now, despite the slow start, there are expectations that full productivity will peak up in the coming days as more workers return. To security matters now, some victims of the drone strike by the Nigerian army that killed 82 civilians, injuring several others in Tudumbiri community of Kaduna State, have raised an alarm over the refusal of a state and the federal government to fulfill their promises and pay financial compensation to them. Speaking with News Central television crew in the community, the victims say that the promised monetary compensation to aid their recovery has not been fulfilled, an action affecting their mental health and livelihoods. News Central's Emmanuel Bagudu tells us more in this report.
A cikin haka yi kwarkwar sai ruwa yake yi tanan yawa na farkon ne sanda azdan din ya faru shine hanjin ya fito.
Masoud Abdurrashid is the chief imam of the Tudumbiri Mosque located in Owo Local Government Area of Kaduna State. 6-year-old daughter of Abdurrashid, Zaharau Abdurrashid, is one of the survivors of the December 2023 drone strike by the Nigerian army that recorded a mishit on the community. Abdurrashid recalls the incident, expressing sadness, saying that despite promises made by the government to fast-track infrastructural development in the community, part of its compensation to residents has not been kept. He says that unfulfilled promises of monetary compensation by government has also kept the memories of the incident still fresh in their minds.
A cikin haka yi kwarkwar sai ruwa yake yi tanan yawa na farkon ne sanda azdan din ya faru shine hanjin ya fito shine he da muka rufe aka je aka yi to bayan an yi na farkon shine ba a yi nasara ba to daga baya na biyu ne wanda aka yi a cikin wannan shekaran wajen watan 4 suka zo suka dauke mu to a wannan lokacin ne aka yi nasaran aikin kama ga yanda yayi wannan shekaran da muka fita tunda abubuwan nan ya faru ana maganan diya to har yanzu mu ba mu ji ina aka tsaya a maganan diyan nan ba. To kaga mu ba karamin takaici bane a mutanen mu tunda duk abin da ya faru maganan diya akai kuma za a biya diya kuma kaga mu mujurutun mu manoma ne kuma kowa yana son harka irin wannan ya san harka irin na noma abu ne duk talaucin ka sai kai amfani da kuɗi to balantana ma baka da shi to balantana a ce kana da shi to kaga duka irin waɗannan maganan diya gaskiya kowa abin da ke ci mashi to kenan akan wannan abin da ya faru.
Another victim, Hashimu Abdullahi, claims he lost 12 children, including his wife, whom he found dead, and her 8-month-old baby gasping for breath.
Da ni da yana mun rasa rai 12 cikin gida daya uwan mu ɗaya da shi saboda ni da na haska yara na gaba saurayi na haska zani cikin bangaren iyaye mata kenan sai na hango wani zani da ne mata da sallah shikenan na kone fure na je na ga lalle ita ne ta dunkule ta yi bambin yaran kuma yana goye ba abin da yayi na sa hannu na kwanto shi na kai godiya ga Allah kuma muna mai kokarin roƙon shi arziki dan mu roƙo ne wannan ya taimaka ya sauke ma kanshi wannan nauyi na diya gaskiya ita ce da yazo akan gaba a garin Tudumbiri yi alƙawarin titi ya cika kuma makaranta ya cika gidajen da alƙawarin zai gina ma yan Tudumbiri ya cika sai dai saura da me rabo da ba a zo an raba ba.
News Central's crew went around the community and discovered government interventions such as completed roads, schools, hospitals, and houses, but not yet in use. A situation the community members find uncomfortable.
Sannan ta yi mana alƙawarin gidaje za ta gina. To alhamdulillah ga gidaje nan ta gina. Sauran abin da ya rage a danka mana a ce wannan gidanka ne shi kadai ya amma ta kammala su kamar yadda ta ce za ta yi. Amma dai mu mun jinjina mu gwamnati kuma mun yaba mata da yanayin yadda ta ɗauko matakan cika alƙawuran nan. To maganan diya ta yi ƙoƙari ta cika, mun san mu mutanen karkara ne, muna da yanayin yadda ƙasan take ciki musamman matsalan tsaro, to ko da ba duka ba.
Although no amount of financial assistance or material gift can replace a life, but the general consensus here in Tudunbiri is the fact that a little contribution from government financially to the families that have lost their lives, to the family that have spent time in hospital, will do a lot in healing them completely. In Tudunbiri, Kaduna State, for News Central, Emmanuel Bagudu.
All right, now News Central's Emmanuel Bagudu joins us for more updates as he's still live in Tudunbiri to give us an update on the drone strike. Emmanuel Bagudu, what new detail can you share about the update on the drone strike in the Tudunbiri residents, and how are they coping with this? How has this affected them?
Yes. Currently, the main issue, the main challenge, what I noticed, I see a lot of a high level of impoverishment, hunger. Of course, they are actually crying for financial compensation. They are crying for human capital development. They are saying that of course infrastructure development, schools, roads were built, beautiful houses were built, of course, but no one has been handed over any home. Schools are there. No child is going to the school. The schools are locked. Up. The hospitals are there. They are not still in use yet. But the most important thing that I noticed there is the fact that they are claiming that they are just still living poverty after that drone strike. Some of them, a lot of them have spent a lot of food on medicine, on treatment. Despite the aid they receive, they are not able to go back to their livelihoods. So they have automatically become poor, according to what they say. And that what is supposed to cushion the effect of that poverty they are facing is that particular promise, which is they call it the fourth promise. Promise number 4 of the government who said they are going to reach out to them in terms of financial inclusion. They are going to give them money to start up their lives. They are not much in the community. It's a very small community. And it's something that I think that may be easy for the government. It was so fast for them to be in those beautiful roads, those beautiful schools, and those beautiful houses. The first promise they said was roads. The roads was done. Schools were built. Of course, housing, a housing unit, a very large housing unit, I need that community. Now, the fourth promise is that particular financial compensation, which they say is the main thing. But the main reason what they are trying to bring out there is that the government has to be very careful, so that this is political, this is electoral season, this is a pre-election year. The government has to be very careful so that people out there, because they said they appreciate what the government is doing, but they don't want people to come out, maybe opposition, or rather somebody that doesn't like the progress of the government, to come out and be using that inability of the government to give them financial assistance, to start making politics about it. So they believe that if the government can be faster fulfilling that promise, some people will not take advantage of the situation to come, displacing the government.
So we also understand that new houses and schools have been built, but they're not occupied. What are the reasons behind this?
Yes, that's another big issue, a very big issue. About 6 months ago, those houses you are seeing, those hospitals you are seeing, those schools you are seeing, they have all been completed, but fully manned by security personnel, army officers. In fact, the entire community is surrounded by army officers, soldiers, as highly armed soldiers around the communities, securing that community. But they are not feeling well, according to what I noticed, and according to what they say. They say they don't have anything to eat. You cannot even find a POS spot in that particular community until you go to the airport. Again, the regional airport is nearby community. They are as impoverished as that. You cannot find where, you cannot even find it. You can only find, you can count at least only 2 provision stores in the entire community. Before they can buy anything, they have to go down to the airport from the community near the airport, so they can get something to buy for themselves. So they are that impoverished, and they feel that particular fourth promise is what should be fulfilled. They said the government has not given them any reason why those schools are not yet open, why those houses have not been distributed to them, why all the infrastructures that were built, why they are not used. They are 6 months now being guided by those are, I think, something that we actually have the community to find for this material. This is why they are not why these are not. But for now, there are no evidence that so it's as good as them being in 3.0 since they are not using those particular facilities, and then since their financial needs of the economy are not to met. Yeah.
All right, Emmanuel Bagudu there with update on the Kaduna drone tragedy, and definitely News Central is still following the story and we'll keep you updated. We'll take a quick break now. You're still live with us on the 12 report. When we come back, Ondo State Governor Aiyedatiwa orders statewide security patrols after attack on police station. The details after the break. Stay tuned. Many thanks for staying with us on the 12 report. Now, the building that caught fire on New Year's Day has been sealed off by officials from the Lagos State Building Control Agency. While the cause of the blaze remains unknown, LASPCA authorities say the fire has compromised the structural integrity of the building, which may soon be demolished. News Central's lead correspondent, Bernard Akede, joins us live from Ikotun Market with more. Bernard, again, it's a sad reality seeing these fires. First, it was the Lagos Island, and then there was the Oshodi Arena Market, and now Ikotun Market. Have we got any update on regarding the cause of the fire? Bernard, can you confirm you can hear me, please?
Okay, now I can hear you. Blessings. Good afternoon. Like you did mention, we had the fires, the fires Lagos Island, and then we had the other one at the Oshodi Market. Now this is the Ikotun Market, and this building you're seeing behind me is the one that went up in flames on New Year's Day, sadly. And I have one of the affected persons here who had his store also burnt, and his goods were equally affected. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Can you tell us your name again?
My name is Mwabal Marcel.
And you have a store here, or you had a store here?
I had a store here.
Can you tell us what you were selling, what was affected, and the value of what you've lost?
What I'm selling is electronics, and almost all of them got burnt. The value of it is over 320. Over 320 the value. 320
million, you mean? And how did this fire start? What information do you have about how the fire started?
We still have closed already, but they just call us. Some went to our place and told us that fire is burning. When we go to Ikotu, it happens that it's beyond the control. So even when fire service comes, about 3 local government, Ejibo, Solo, and the Obadore side, when they come, they try what they could see it. No, it's all to now no avail. Though without their help, the whole building would have gone down. But because of their help, that is why we'll be able to cause some areas and burn some areas.
So now, has anybody said what will be done after? Have they allowed people to move out some of their goods that are still inside?
But currently, government see the place. For now, we cannot be able to enter and we cannot be able to come inside.
Okay, and what is your plea now? What are you asking them for?
The government, they should just try and open for us, at least for us to look out another ways we can be able to sort out the business and start our business.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay. We're also with Chief Polycarp. Chief Polycarp was here. We spoke with him earlier. Chief Polycarp, please come closer. Thank you for joining us. You spoke to us earlier about, the affected people here. What do you think could have been done better so that this fire could have not happened?
Actually, one of the things that we need to do is that we have somebody who was here as a security man. But anyhow, government can be able to stop this issue of playing bangers or whatever. That thing is creating a lot of havoc. So look at this. Most of these people, they are dealing with bank loans. I don't know how they are going to cope. So many millions of naira here, bank money. So I don't know how government can be able to render some assistance to that area, because it is a huge loss, very huge loss. But most importantly, this issue of knockouts and all this thing, anyhow government can be able to stop that, will be appreciated.
Thank you very much, Polika. Well, basically, that's what we have here. We hear that it's possible that the fire was caused by a knockout.
All right, Bernard Akede there with the update on the fire that started, unfortunately, on New Year's Day at the Ikotun Market. Ondo State Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa has ordered intensified security patrols across communities and forest corridors in the state following a deadly attack in Owo Local Government Area. The directive was issued on Thursday during an emergency meeting with security chiefs in Akure, the state capital. The meeting followed a late-night attack on Ipele Owo community on Wednesday, New Year's Eve. A gunman reportedly invaded the agrarian settlement around 10 p.m., setting a police station ablaze and firing sporadically, forcing officers and residents to flee. Governor Aiyedatiwa said the incident occurred while many residents were attending crossover church services to usher in 2026, describing the attack as disturbing and unacceptable. He directed security agencies to scale up patrols, strengthen intelligence gathering, and secure vulnerable communities, assuring residents that the perpetrators will be tracked and brought to justice. Let's talk more on security. Youths in Owo Local Government Area of Kogi State took to the street on Friday to protest the rising insecurity. Now, they expressed concern over increasing cases of kidnapping and aimed or armed attacks affecting communities across the local government area. Eyewitnesses say the protest started peacefully, with demonstrators marching along major streets before moving onto the federal road. Security operatives, including police officers, later intervened, firing tear gas to disperse the crowd and clear the road. The sudden action caused panic, forcing protesters to scatter. Now, sources at the scene indicate the operation was carried out under the authorities of Owo Local Government Chairman Michael Zacchaeus, though no official statement has been released at the time of filing this report. The Nigeria Police Force has suspended nationwide enforcement of the tinted glass permit policy following an interim court order. And the policy was earlier scheduled to take effect on the 2nd of January 2026 after an announcement by the police citing security concerns. In a statement signed by the Force PRO, Benjamin Hundeyin, police authorities confirmed they were served with a court order restraining enforcement pending the hearing of a substantive suit. The force has entered appearance in court, filed objections, and applied for the order to be vacated, with the case adjourned to January 20th, 2026. To discuss more on this, we're joined by a public affairs analyst and a lawyer, Sam Akpologun. Sam, thank you for joining us and compliments of a season. Now, I'd just like to start by asking, what are the main legal arguments that have led to the repeated suspension of the tinted glass permit policy, and why has it been that they have been at loggerhead, the law enforcement and the court?
Thanks for having me. I'm glad for the opportunity. Actually, there have been various arguments in this regard. The arguments have been that the implementation of the tinted glass permit is an affront to the constitutional provision, one of the freedom of movement and of persons, and freedom and the right to freedom of privacy, and also that the police does not have the power to state or to exert the authority of determining funds that should be paid. That is to say, the police cannot fix taxes or penalties, so to speak. The police to implement law and not to recommend or to state the law, or for that matter. So these are the arguments around the issues of implementation of the tinted glass permit enforcement and all of those matters. So it left to be saying what the court will be saying about this matter that are already before the court.
So how do we balance the police stated security objectives with citizens' personal liberties in their policy?
Now, we must understand this, that the citizens' personal liberty is constitutionally guaranteed, and that must be that must take an overwhelming precedent. The police position is that, well, there is a law which is a decree for that matter. There is a law granting them or giving them the authority to implement the policy with respect to tinted glass permit. But we must understand that the argument that that issue of tinted glass permit is about have to do with security is obtuse. If you look at the foundation and the beginning of that law, it was not so much for security purpose. The law is a one-pager. That's the decree. It's a one-pager. I think it's about 4 sections. It has to do with limiting the use of tinted glasses to a group of people. 1, people that have health issues like albinos, and 2, people who are specially privileged, like government agencies, government officials, and so on and so forth. That was the essence of the law, because then we were in a military government where some persons are equal, but others are more equal than the others. But we have since left that state. It was not so much for security, because come to think about it, the law is not addressing security. The law is not saying don't use tinted glass for me. What the police is doing, I don't say don't use tinted glass for me. They are saying come and pay and then use your tinted glass. So anybody can pay. An armed robber can pay, what they call a kidnapper can pay. Once you have paid your 20-something thousand naira, you can go with your tinted glass permit. All that the police is asking for, show me that you have paid. How does that enforce security? How does that ensure security? You cannot tell me that it is to gather the data of the citizens and to know who actually is using tinted glass permit. We already have too many platforms for the security information of individuals in the society. And today Nigerians are even asking themselves, why do we have this paraphernalia of data convergence? We have the NIN has all our data. We have the BDN has all our data. Every time you're going for any place, you have the driver's license, have all our data. What are you collecting data for in the name of tinted glass permit? So all of those arguments are obtuse. I don't think that law itself is a backward-facing law and should be confined to the vehicle of historical obligation. Thank you.
So before we let you go, what message does the repeated delay and court intervention send about the enforcement of controversial policies in Nigeria? And it feels as though the Constitution and law enforcement are always at loggerheads. Why do we keep having a repeat of that?
First and foremost, that law was not made to operate in a democratic setting. It's a military decree. In fact, if you read some section of that law, I think section 2 or 3, section 3 of that law, it says that that law, the provisions of that law will take precedence over the Constitution because it was intended to be a military decree. Such laws should not be existing in a present day Nigeria. And I hope that the court end up confining that law to history. Now, the position is that the repeated delay, suspension, and so on just tells us that that law has no place in the present day Nigeria. It is weakening the trust of Nigerians on the integrity of the police. Today, Nigerians are saying that the police are just interested in the money that comes from that law. So it is best that that law is simply set aside. It flies in the face of the Constitution. It is disrespect the law, the rights of Nigerians. Don't tell me that the law has something to do with security. Yes, in Senate clients, I think we should, let me just make this recommendation before I leave. In Senate clients, the laws generally, as regards tinted glass permit, are made for specific reasons. They are not made to give money to the security agencies. For example, in the UK, once your glass goes beyond 30% of the visible light transmission, you are then required you are meant to pay. It is that payment is automatically detected by the particular device that the security agency has, and you know what you're paying, and you know why you're paying for that, because it is meant, you see that law is meant for safety. But the one we have here is at the discretion of the IGP or the policeman, who will not know what is the level of the tint of your car. But as long as your car is tinted, you have to pay for this purpose. So I think that law should either be improved on to reflect what we have in the United Kingdom or the United States, or another similar place, or the law should simply be abrogated. Otherwise, we'll keep on having clash with the constitution. I would rather that the court does what it takes the initiative and then is bold enough to do the needful and declare the law contrary to the provision of the constitution, and to the extent of its being contrary, declared void.
All right, Sam Akpologun, lawyer and public affairs analyst, thank you so much for your time with us on the news. And we look forward to seeing how this pans out, because right now Nigerians are confused whether or not to go ahead to start surrendering their tinted permit. But we'll see how that turns out. You're still live with us on the 12 Report. We're going on a short break now. And when we come back, we have more details of more stories to share with you. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, as work resumes after the public holiday, compliance at the Federal Secretariat appears slow, with many civil servants yet to return fully and small businesses reopening. We have our correspondent, Aisha Saliu, who is currently at the FCT, to give us more update on the resumption after the holiday season as we gradually wind down the festivities. Aisha, what is the general mood at the Federal Secretariat this morning? Are the civil servants resuming fully, or is it still scanty?
Well, blessings, as you're aware, today is supposed to be the first day, after the public holiday, the New Year public holiday. But we've been here all day, all morning. Although offices are open here at the Federal Secretariat, as you know, it houses a number of ministries. To my right, we have the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education, and even to my left, we have the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And, behind me is the road leading to the National Assembly. I'd say activities are really slow today. One would expect that most of the civil servants would have turned up to resume work, but many people, but then we still have some vendors around who have also opened, and they came here hoping that perhaps they'll get some, boost in their sales today, hoping that the civil servants would resume. But we have been combing around the area, and we realized that not many people have resumed. Just a few of the civil servants have resumed, and we have asked questions why there is, a little bit of slow compliance with the resumption, and many of them have said that they can attribute these to some persons who are yet to return from the holiday, as so many people traveled out of Abuja, and others say that because some ministries are yet to pay salaries, even other offices are yet to pay salaries. So that may be one reason that is responsible for low compliance. But then I have some vendors here who would want to speak to us about how this low compliance of the resumption after public holiday is affecting their business. Good afternoon, sir. Yes, sir. Please, can I have your name?
My name is Bello Yusuf.
Okay, so I have Mr. Bello Yusuf here, and he sells books around the Federal Secretariat here. So I'd like to hear from you. How has this low compliance to resume work affected your business today?
It has affected my business very well. As you could see, I displayed very few books. I have many books, you can see, look at the books. But due to the low compliance of people coming to work, so I just have to bring some few copies in case some people may like to come and have some copies.
So, but then, what are you hoping for your business? Do you think maybe perhaps by next week business would have picked up?
Exactly. Hopefully, I've been so optimistic. Maybe by next week, it will be getting all right.
Well, blessings, you've heard from Mr. Yusuf, who is a book vendor right in front of the Federal Secretariat here, and he has said that he's hoping that perhaps by next week, Monday, business would have picked up, as it is expected that more people would have resumed to work from the public holiday. But what I can tell you specifically today is that the activities here are really slow. Offices are open, however, but the activities are really slow, and there are not many people who have resumed work today.
All right, that's Aisha Sali bringing us an update on the Secretariat in the FCT regarding resumption of people, and of course the vendors who are probably affected by the low turnout of civil servants. Now, about 9 persons have been confirmed dead in a midnight attack at the Bom village of Chugwi community in Rang district Jos South Local Government Area of Plateau State. Some residents of the community confirmed the incident to News Central, describing it as an unprovoked act of genocide. News Central's Chizoba Anyowe tells us more.
Once again, the new year for these families in Plateau State ushers in a moment of mourning following a midnight attack by unknown gunmen. Just a few hours away from the new year, as residents joined the rest of the world to cross over, little did they know that an attack was imminent, even at this proportion. Early mourners who trooped in to console those affected regret that these recurring attacks seem to have no end.
When we say that an act of genocide has happened here, some will argue against it, but these are facts. We don't want to hear the name of perpetrators will be brought to book. The federal government has already marked them to be terrorists. We want to see that these terrorists are being apprehended and are being treated according to the law.
My advice to the state government, letting the ask to the local government council and see how to mop out all the serious men that who give their life to protect the life of their citizens, the vigilantes, neighborhood watch, and the hunters.
Some say that the event remains a sore taste to bear, as it is coming less than 2 weeks after 12 miners were attacked and killed in what locals say was during legitimate mining operation in the Fan district of Barkinladi Local Government Area of the state.
We've been calling on the United Nations, particularly the United States of America, who has commenced military operation in the country, to, as a matter of urgency, hasten up their own intervention so that the terrorist element that have been allowed, I'm reiterating this word, they have been allowed to carry out crimes against humanity in this general area so that they can be flushed out.
Also urge the community vigilantes to also be awake at this moment in order to curtail such incidents. And we'll continue to engage other security agencies to see how we will tackle it.
For these residents, welcoming a new year once again in an atmosphere of pain and mourning leaves a lot of questions on their lips, with many asking, is there an end to these recurring attacks on the plateau? In Plateau State for News Central, Chizoba Anyowe.
Abia State welcomed its first baby of the year, drawing attention to primary healthcare delivery in rural communities. The wife of a state governor, Priscilla Oti, paid a visit to the newborn and presented a cash gift to the family. Baby Oluebubechi Nwatobi, ex Grace, was born at exactly 12:43 a.m. on the 1st of January 2026 at the Akirika Uku Primary Healthcare Center in Ukwa West Local Government Area, weighing 3 kilograms at birth. During her visit, Mrs. Oti encouraged expectant mothers across the state to make use of primary healthcare centers for antenatal care and delivery, stressing their role in improving maternal and child health outcomes. She noted that strengthening confidence in grassroots health facilities remains a key focus of a state government's healthcare agenda.
That we got from the health sector. She was the very first baby of the year, so we have to come, regardless of the distance. So, and I'm happy. Really, it's really very gratifying that it is a primary health care center. That shows that the health sector is working indeed. And then we would love to see more of such, progress in the states where women can easily come to deliver at the primary health care center, with all the facilities and the doctors and the healthcare workers.
This thing is happening like this because I don't know, it's God. I don't believe this. This is my first time of meeting you. Thank you, man. This child brought it. But yes.
You're still live with us on the 12 Report. We go on another short break, and when we come back, we've got more stories. Do stay with us. And now to business. Nigeria's banks saw non-performing loans climb to an estimated 7% in 2025, surpassing the 5% regulatory ceiling following the Central Bank of Nigeria's withdrawal of pandemic-era reliefs. The forbearance framework had allowed lenders to restructure distressed loans without classifying them as bad. With the policy lifted, several restructured facilities crystallized as NPLs. Despite the rise, banks maintained strong liquidity at 65% and capital adequacy of 11.6%, keeping the sector stable. The CBN urged tighter credit risk monitoring, operational integration of global standing instruction framework, and prudential discipline to safeguard balance sheets and support lending growth. And outside of Nigeria, at least 7 people have been confirmed dead, with many others missing after a boat carrying about 200 migrants capsized off the coast of Gambia overnight from Wednesday into Thursday. Gambian authorities say 96 survivors were rescued, several of them with serious injuries. The Gambian Navy launched a search and rescue operation shortly after midnight, deploying multiple naval vessels with assistance from a nearby fishing boat. The capsized vessel was later found grounded on a sandbank as rescue efforts continued. Officials also confirmed that several of the victims are believed to be foreign nationals, with identity verification currently ongoing. And outside the shores of Africa, emergency services are continuing rescue and recovery operations in the Swiss Alps resort town of Crans, Montana, a day after a deadly fire ripped through a crowded bar during New Year's celebrations. Police and firefighters remain at the scene, working behind tents and protective screens as investigations and cleanup efforts progress. The area around the affected venue has been cordoned off with public access restricted. The fire broke out late on New Year's Eve and spread rapidly through the bar, trapping several people inside. Authorities say the incident ranks among Switzerland's deadliest peacetime tragedies in recent years. Survivors are receiving treatment in nearby hospitals for burns and smoke inhalation, while counseling services have been made available to residents and witnesses. Flags have been lowered nationwide as Switzerland mourns the victims and awaits the outcome of ongoing investigations. Nigeria, let's talk about the tinted glass permit saga, shall we? Because at this point, nobody knows who's in charge, and that's a real problem. So first, context. Tinted glass permits were introduced years ago as a security measure. The logic was simple. If you can't see into a vehicle, it becomes easier to move weapons, criminals, or kidnapped victims unnoticed. So the state said, register your tinted vehicle, get a permit, and everyone stays safer. On paper, it made sense. But fast forward to now, courts reportedly issued orders asking the police to halt enforcement, citing concerns around harassment, extortion, and lack of clarity, which we've experienced for a long time in Nigeria, if we're being honest with ourselves. Yet, despite that, announcements were made that enforcement would resume on the 2nd of January, being today. Then, barely days later, enforcement is suddenly suspended again. So Nigerians are asking, if the court said pause, why announce enforcement at all? And if enforcement was lawful and necessary, why suspend it so quickly at all? And this back and forth is not just administrative confusion. It raises a deeper issue: respect for court orders and the rule of law. In a democracy, once a court speaks, institutions are expected to listen or at least halt. When they don't or appear not to, it feeds a dangerous perception that laws are optional and authority is selective. But then there's also the street reality that Nigerians keep talking about. Many argue that this enforcement doesn't actually stop the crimes. Bandits are not being stopped on highways now, are they? Because of tinted glasses. And that's the contradiction. We say this is about national security, but insecurity is still raging really wild. We say this is about law and order, yet court orders appear negotiable. We say that this is about regulation, but trust in enforcement is at an all-time low. So at the end of the day, security isn't achieved by checking glass tint alone. It's achieved by intelligence, by accountability, by institutions that respect the law that they're meant to uphold. And let's not forget, security issues are still raging wild. So what to do? And that's your postscript. Now, before we go, let's take a look at what's happening in the sporting world. Nigeria had a modest but notable presence in the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations group stage, with only Ademola Lookman and head coach Eric Shelley making the final selection. Now, Lookman was Nigeria's sole player inclusion, earning recognition for his attacking impact and consistency during the group phase. The forward stood out with 2 goals and 2 assists in the group stage for the Super Eagles. And on the touchline, Eric Shelley was named the best coach after guiding his side with tactical discipline and organization throughout the group stage, earning praise for his group stage wins. A News Central's Udoka Ojoko is live in Fez and will bring us updates from Nigeria's base. Udoka, quick question. How would you assess Nigeria's overall performance in the group stage, considering only Ademola Lookman made the top?
Well, thank you very much, Blessings. Of course, with Ademola Lookman making it to the top 11 in the group stage of the AFCON, it just shows progress for Nigerian football. And you can tell a few players who really did well during the group stage of the tournament. And for Eric Shell being the coach for the group stage, it also shows that they have done a great performance during the group stage of the tournament. So going forward, we just hope for more performances from the Nigerian team. But we'll say congratulations for Ademola Lookman and Eric Shell for making it on that list. But we'll get to talk more about this one when in the game starts in a couple of minutes' time.
All right, Udoka Ojoko there has given us a hint to what we'll be expecting on in the games from Fez, Morocco. But that's it on the 12 report today. Remember, you may send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen because we want to see what you see. And also do well to follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Gold TV channel 23, Star Times 274, Avo TV, and of course live on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Blessings Wasugu.